Tarke here. Today we're going to be doing another Patreon build review. This time it's Iain's Magma Orb Deadeye. So let's just read through what he said here. My goal with this build was to use Magma Orb for the best clear possible without investing all that much currency, as I don't have tons of time to play. I like the fact he's like, I'm on limited time, gonna play a build which has ultimate clear. Nice. As of right now, I have about 2 to 3x invested, and I'm close to my next upgrade, which is 6-link Sire. He said he just got the 6-link Sire earlier on. The concept for this build is Cyclone cast while channeling Magma Orb, Gloomfang, and the Helm enchant for +2 chains and Deadeye ascendancy. I don't know if I like the Cyclone cast while channeling bit. I think I'd rather just like manually Magma Orb, but I guess. For the record, I've actually played this build. In Harby, I played a Berserker Sire of Shards Magma Orb build to like 97 or 98 in hardcore, and I was the bane of many a beachhead rotation. Because if anyone who remembers back then, people used to like just get these rotors and spam beachhead, and you just invite people in randomly, and they didn't know when they were inviting me. They're like, oh, hey, it's Tarke. And then it's like, oh, hang on. It's Tarke on his Sire of Shards Magma Orb build, and they loved it when I was in the party. But anyway, it was a really good build. I had a lot of fun with that character, and I died to a Volatile, I believe, because that was like back when we had old Volatile. But anyway, whatever. It's a fun build. I was hoping on some advice for Cottages on how to get a little bit more single target for the build, as well as some more evasion from the Queen of the Forest interaction. Okay. The only thing I'm set on is Sire of Shards and Deadeye. Everything else is easily changeable for me. Okay, and then he's giving me a link to the POB. Awesome. Right. So, wants more single target damage. Dropping the castle channeling would be a solid way of boosting your DPS, because you'd gain 2 links. Also, Magma Orb is one of those abilities where you kind of need to aim it for single target. I was actually planning on playing this build this league. My idea was to use a Sire of Shards for map clear, then weapon swapping into just like a plus level start for single target. So that's something you could look into just for a very easy just swap. Boom, 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 boom. We'll just quickly look through the gear, then we'll look through the skills, then we'll start messing around with the tree. Because you've done this as a Pathfinder, you've made it kind of awkward for yourself. Because you've got to, like, you know, root out of Ranger. But anyway. Joffrey's Legacy, I'm guessing you're using this because it was the only helm you could get which had the +2 chain, and it's okay as far as helmets go, because it's, you know, it's tri-res, gives chaos res, has +1 gems. Like, it's not the worst thing, right? Queen of the Forest for the zoom. Life, good double res roll, nice. Kind of trash boots. You can get better boots, dude. You can get better boots. Gloomfang, if you don't know, Gloomfang's got a pretty powerful interaction. Projectiles gain 8% of non-chaos as extra chaos per chain. You do lose the life for each enemy hit by your spells, but you get some chaos leech, and you just need like to mitigate that. Then he's got a fun ability, Curse on Hit Ring. Not the best Curse on Hit Ring, but it's a Curse on Hit Ring. He's got a kind of trash Coral Ring. He clearly yoinked this up on other characters. Got the Fizzcraft. Take that off. Put like, I don't know, minus mana cost of channel skills or something on there. Just get a better ring. Bisco's Leash. I like Bisco's Leash. Rampage is fun. Quant is good. He's playing a Zoomer. Delirium Flask of Bloodletting. No. Staunching, mate. Get Curse removal on your Stibnite Flask. Put Staunching on your Life Flask. I know you've got Corrupted Blood can't be inflicted on you, but there's still like lots of big scary punctures in the game. Oh, he's got 2 inevitabilities. Okay, so couple of small upgrades he can make to his gear, but nothing too crazy. Alright, let's have a look at your links. So, you've got like no fire pen. That'd be my initial reaction. Sure, you've got loads of fire added as chaos, but you're still doing a big chunk of fire damage. So let's, you know, up that a bit. I wouldn't run Conk Effect on there. So one of the reasons why I personally never went Deadeye on my Magma Orb builds, and a lot of people do go Deadeye for their Magma Orb builds, is like, oh, but it gives the +1 chain, it gives the projectiles deal 10% more damage per chain, and this is like such good synergy with the Sire of Shards, OP. But the projectile speed kind of fucks it up, in my opinion. Because if you don't know the way that Magma Orb works, is you want to like force overlap on bosses, and you generally run slower proj for a single target, and I find the projectile speed is a bad thing. And you're getting 30% proj speed there, and then you're getting an additional 15, so you got 45 positive proj speed, so the bounces, they're gonna have big gaps. So I definitely wouldn't run Conk Effect, because then you're gonna be messing with your AoE overlap, you're gonna be scaling area. Right, so how can we change his tree? See, you could route up this way, but then you have the... Like, I'm trying to actively avoid proj speed. You could maybe, like, route out the top. So I wish you'd done this as a Trickster. If you've done this as a Trickster, you still could have gone for the stacking evasion. You could have gone for the escape artist. And then that would have given you a nice, like, layer of defense. And then you could have gone, like, escape artist, harness the void, and then you could have gone swift killer if you're doing the cyclone stuff. You always have the power and you always have the frenzy charges, right? But anyway, if you think a different ascendancy is better, you could try that. I can. Okay, beautiful. So with this, right, you've got 169 deeps. Okay, it's pretty good. Just out of interest, what could we get you with a Trickster, or alternatively a... You want to go fast, I'm not going to put you on a Chieftain or anything. But let's just say you did Trickster, right? The other good thing about the Trickster is you could then have the free mana skills. Should be decent. Because I wouldn't do the cyclone stuff. If you want to do the cyclone stuff, it's like something you can do. Helps to actually select shadow. How would I route out of this? Would I go through these nodes, or would I just jump along the top? I'd be tempted to jump along the top, maybe, and save... Not stuck on the cyclone, just thought it'd be easiest. That's fair. Just to see. You could go for Swift Killer, you could go for Weave the Arcane, you could go for whatever. Alright. Level 70. Alright, okay. So that is level 74. And then you would have Frenzy and Power. So that'd be 145k, right? Also, where are you getting the Frenzy charges on your build? Blood Rage? Do you even have enough you don't have enough regen to swap the blood? No, you can't run Blood Rage, dude. That's a yikes. Okay. So for Trickster, you'd have 145k. Right. And then on Deadeye, you'd have 139k. You'd have 190% movement speed compared to 162% movement speed. So you gain 30% movement speed, but you have a much neater tree. And now you can mess around with cluster jewels and stuff like that. That's only 2 point. That is 1.8 per point. Not really worth. I don't know. I'd be tempted to not do it as a Deadeye. Is it Zuri still worth farming? It depends on the league you're playing in. Only you can really answer that. Only you can stop forest fires. I don't know why that came from. I don't know, you'd have 4.6k life on 1k ES. The ES would be randomly like... No. Because you have the power charge, you have better LE overload uptime as well. I think I prefer the Trickster tree. Just you get a lot more points to play with. Because you get more points to play with, you can then mess around with you can mess around with cluster jewels, and then also because you have more points to play with and you don't have the whole proj speed issue, you then get, if you did do the weapon swap setup, that you'll have more AoE overlap for single target. So I don't know, I would strongly consider that as an option. These points might be a bit, like suboptimal. It's like 2 travel points, which it's okay. You could cut all of that if you wanted to, and then instead just go like for that, and then shove a big cluster jewel in there. And for cluster jewels for this build, what would you run? Let's have a look. See. You'd run for the corpse destruction one. Can you hit that on elemental? Which I think you can only hit that on fire damage. Cremator, yeah, I don't think you can. Yeah, you have to hit that purely on fire ones. But yeah, you could then get Cremator, which is nice for corpse destruction. You don't need any of the burning stuff. The fire exposure is okay. Prismatic Heart is just good because it gives a bunch of damage and auras. Sadist, not that great. Smoking Remains is pretty decent. Vengeful Commander. So I'd go for like Cremator, Prismatic Heart, and then you could get a bit of Ellie Leech if you wanted the Ellie Leech. Go for Wide Destruction for some AoE. Because you're cycloning, you're not actually getting, you're not actually using an elemental skill. I would really drop the cyclone completely and just go self-cast. I would honestly say drop the cyclone completely and just go self-cast. I go disorienting display. You can try it, but you'll be better off honestly just like going that shit. Herald of Ashes Zealotry. Some Holy Relic can meet Shield Blood Magic. Try it, see which one you prefer. That's basically what I'm going to say. Instead of running a Steel Skin, if you want Wave of Conviction, you want it proccing as much as possible, so just run a level 1 cast. 1 damage taken, Wave of Conviction, level 7. Then run an Immortal Call, level 3. And then you can run a 2020 Combustion. Fun Billy, you getting from the ring? One, two. You could, instead of doing 2 points there, you could come along that way and grab the jewel and grab that, but then go to some points. I always forget to add jewels to these bastards. So yeah, you could take that if you wanted the res. If you don't need the res, don't take it. But it's still 20% damage per point and 10 all res, so it's very good for helping out your gearing. Would recommend it. And then what medium jewels are good for this build? Let's have a look, see. So you could take area damage. You could take the flask duration stuff is quite nice. You could take projectile damage because Magma Orb is a projectile. There's one which has stuff to do with chain. 25% proj damage, 30% against nearby enemies. That'd be pretty good for the first bounce. Projectiles deal 50% increased damage for each remaining chain. Could be interesting. Repeater gives some attack and cast speed. Shrieking bolts, you don't need taunt. Shrieking bolts is interesting for having taunt spells. Like, you can put it on your totems, then you can have taunt spell totems, so you don't need it for your build. You don't want proj speed. Proj speed is bad. If you went for this, you would go for probably eye to eye and follow through. But there's probably something better than the projectile shit. You could do the Warcry stuff. The Warcry stuff is actually really strong, but you're nowhere near this node. You could anoint it, but so let's say that you went for some not war effects. It's rare that you don't have good mediums. Alright, what we got here? We've got assert dominance, area damage, increase. Oh, also, we definitely take these 3 points. Arcane Expanse is great. Increased area if you've killed. This is good. 25% area, 10 damage. It's pretty good. He's just going full zoom. Tensity, nope. Magnifier, you're not crits. Powerful assaults. Chance to knock back on hit could be kind of cute. If you had 2 of those, that's 20%. Decent. 5% life, 10% area of effects. Air damage, 3% per charge. So that would be 20% damage, 12% AoE. Yeah. I mean, none of the mediums seem that... I think for this build, I'd probably go large into too small. And I would skip the mediums completely. And I think that would probably be the right choice, actually, for this. This is very... If you wanted to run the mediums, drop this. You don't need this setup. This is very much fluff. It's just something I've started taking a lot of Trickster builds now. You could also go 1-2 and then cut 4 points. If you're like really desperate to save points. A lot of people have also just started doing this. And just like drop all of the start to save points. You can look into Megalomaniacs with life nodes on them for media costumes and doing that a lot on Delirium Standard. Most wanted 2040C range. That could be something to look into. Maybe look into the Megalomaniacs. Isn't projectile medium really good with damage per remaining chain? It is a good one. It is a good one. It's the best one so far. It's just you'd go eye for eye and follow through. Like, these are the best ones. It gives like a big chunk of damage like the first 2 hits. And if you're just like point blanking, like if you've got how many chains have you got? Chains +3. You could run the woke chain support gem. Which then adds additional +3. So that'd be 6. The Helm gives 2, 8. Gloomfang gives +1, 9. 15 times by 9. Quick maths. The first proj would have 135. The second proj would have 120. The third would have 105. Like it's good. It's good. And then you're still getting like 25 to 60% for probably the first 2. Oh, I always forget to have bloody jewels on them. Boom, 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 boom. Again, if you're just speed mapping, probably cut these points. If you're just speed mapping, and we'll shove that in. If you're just speed mapping, you'd go for an elusive small jewel, which is dodge, no witnesses, with as few nodes as possible. I've been really liking the avoid ailment stuff. I keep telling everyone to do the avoid ailment stuff. You could also go for Fettle to just get more life. You could also do, there's a pretty good life ES one if you want to like just balance your ES and your life a little bit. So depending on what you want, if you want to stack 2 of these and then craft on your gloves, get different brand of gloves, craft avoid ailments, anoint crystal skin. You'd have to get a new Gloomfang for that. You could do it that way. If you eventually got this enchant on a rare helmet, you could then have 50% on helm and gloves, and then not need the anoint. Things you could anoint for this build. Divine Judgment's pretty cheap. Crystal Skin's honestly really good. I'll probably go Crystal Skin. If you're having mana issues, you can take Arcane Will for 2 points. You can also take Lucidity if you're having issues with Cyclone. You can also just take Weave the Arcane. Yeah. And then... yeah, I'd probably say do the whole avoid ailment stacking thing. Otherwise, go for like a pair of Fettle life jewels or something. So yeah, pick which one of these you'd want to use. I'd probably do the spell dodge stuff. You can also take the one which gives you endurance charge generation, and that'd be level 92 tree. So yeah, you could go something kind of like that. You can also then take this cluster for even more cast speed and Air of Effects, which would be good if you went self-cast, and even if you just went Cyclone still, it's still a lot of AoE, and it gives increased Air of Effect per power charge, which if you take Swift Killer, you know, you'll have 4 power charges, so that is then 10% area, 18% area, 28% area, plus an additional 40% AoE for 3 points. So you would have a lot of AoE with this build, which would then scale your Magma Orb overlapping really nicely. It would also be really good for your Herald of Ash. It would also be really good for your Blood and Sand. Wait, why are you using Blood and Sand? Did you mean to use Flesh and Stone? I'm guessing you meant to run Flesh and Stone. I don't know why you're running Blood and Sand. I guess you meant to run Flesh and Stone. You then have a very neat 0% unreserved mana. It's pretty good. Would recommend. Probably don't have 0% unreserved mana. So things you could do to fix that, you could shove an Enlighten in there, obviously. And then you would have 8 unreserved. If you're doing the whole Cyclone thing, you need very little unreserved mana. If you don't want to run the Enlighten, you could also take these 3 points here. So yeah. You could go for it. Just sort of do that shit. I don't know, I think Trickster's the way to go. If you don't want to go Trickster, you want to stick with the whole Deadeye thing, by all means go for it. I think this would be a pretty fun character to play though, and it is a build I've actually been looking into playing myself. Dex is a bit scuffed, but again, you could drop some points elsewhere. You could maybe like cut some of this, and then take these points back up to gain an extra 30 Dex that way. You can also change the way this is routed and do something kind of like this. And then you drop that. And that. So you can also route along the bottom way if you're really desperate for dexterity. Just options. Because of the way that cluster jewels work, you can be very flexible with your trees now, which is cool. I like that there's suddenly real incentive to mess around with your characters in such a way. And obviously, if you're going self-cast, take this 6% cast speed node. It's very strong. So, yeah, anyway. I'm Tarke. Magma Orb, Boom Boom, Splash Splash. Would recommend BTW. Wouldn't do Holy Relic unless you're doing Cyclone, but he's doing Cyclone, so fair enough. Looks like a fun build. I'm Tarke. Thank you, Iain. Have a good day. Bye-bye.